Okay, hi friends. I am super excited to introduce one of my clients and good friends, Laura. And Laura is here to share around her experience as far as working with the material that I teach and with my mentorship. So I am really just super grateful that you've taken out the time, Laura, to show up and share a little bit about what that looked like for you. And also I want to share with those that are jumping on this call a little bit around you. So I'll introduce Laura Bolton. And Laura is a Thinking into Results student who's also going into Lead the Field. So she's been diving into this material for a while with me. And we were actually introduced through the event. And that is a platform that myself and 4 other founders during everything that was going on the planet created to move people towards solutions. And Laura came in as our communication expert and really is another person that was making sure that we were doing what we were supposed to do and also was supporting around copy and really just being in a place to serve the whole community. So I'm really grateful that Laura and I met. No coincidence. So Laura, thank you for being here today with me.
It's great to be here, and I'm very glad that we met too.
Me too. I knew right away when we met through the event. Although Laura was not able to shine the way that she needed to through the event, and I knew that Laura was the kind of human that I needed to spend more time with. And I just really valued everything that she did bring to the table when we were sharing the event and really serving a lot of people. And Laura, you are just such a phenomenal human being. And I'm so grateful that you saw something as well in me and you made the decision to move into this material with Bob and I and Thinking into Results. And I know that that was through the event as well. And I would love for you just to share, what maybe inspired you to take action and to reach out to me and to move into this material.
Yeah, well, I guess there was a couple of things. I mean, just from a personal perspective, I really resonated with you, and I know we, got on really well through the event. But for me, in terms of deciding to sign up, I was really in a place that I'd been in for quite a while, which was, I would describe it as a place of just procrastination and holding back. So for quite a while, I've had all of these things that I really want to bring into the world and ways that I want to grow and things that I wanted to overcome. But I just felt stuck. It was just like a feeling of stuckness and procrastination, which is very frustrating. I'm sure there's many people that can relate to that. You kind of know deep down how much you're capable of, and you really want to do this stuff, but then you're just not doing it. So I guess that was my kind of underlying theme. And I kind of just got really sick of myself. And I knew also that I was not in an environment where I could thrive, in terms of particularly the people around me. And so that was a big draw as well. I think having a group of people and a mentor like yourself to actually go through a program with, so that you can have, encouragement, accountability and support is incredibly powerful. That I feel that's the most powerful thing. It's just having that sort of little team around you, and you're all going through that experience together. And so that's really what made me decide to, come into this. And, having some familiarity already with the, Bob and the teachings, I really felt that it would be the thing that I needed to really move forward and overcome those hurdles that I was experiencing.
Yeah, I think we all get that, internal nudge when we know we should do something. I always think when the student is ready, the teacher always appears. It's kind of been my mantra. And I see all my clients as also teachers for me. So I'm always so grateful when I can invite someone like yourself into this material, because you were doing some pretty amazing things before. And I know you've gone into other mentorships and had a lot of training, but it's those internal intuitive nudges that are like, hey, this is the next step, right?
Yeah.
And what was a fear that you had maybe around making that decision to move forward? Did you have any fears at that time?
I don't know if I wouldn't say there was any significant fears. I think there's always a feeling of discomfort when you're about to, invest and to take a leap and actually commit to something, not just in terms of money, but in terms of the time, because, time and energy, knowing that you're actually committing to it and you're going to have to do it. There's often a weird little kind of conflict or discomfort inside that can come about. But that was it really. I just felt more enthusiastic and excited to move forward because I had got to a point where I was so sick of not doing the things I wanted to do and not achieving my potential that it was more a fear of not doing anything about it, to be honest. So yeah, no major fears about stepping in.
Yeah, and I can completely relate. I always call those spaces like where you get stuck. I sometimes call them a hell realm. It's like if I don't do something, like I know what that looks like. Like we've been to those crappy spaces, right? And Bob would always say, we have to do it ourselves and we can't do it alone. So it's recognizing that there's a part of it where I'm going to have to take action. But the great thing is that there is incredible mentorship and material out there that works. And I know with this material, and because you've heard me say this before, I mean, it's a recipe. It's a science-based recipe that works every time when you follow the recipe that's been passed down, through an incredible lineage. And when you do the work, it works, but you got to do the work. That's most important, right? My mentor, who's also your mentor, even though Bob is gone, and we're carrying on this legacy, he would just say, you could work with the most incredible mentorship, you can work with the most incredible material, but unless you actually take action, it's not going to work. So there is that important piece, right? And that's one thing for you. I knew that when you came in, I knew you were a right fit because you were an action taker. You knew that you would have to spend a certain amount of time every day and do your work and go inside and do some of that internal. And we'd met up enough times before that, and you were already doing some of your work through the event, which I think all of us were, right? That were there really in a place to serve. I knew that like you were just such a great fit for this material. So yeah, again, I'm so honored and so grateful that you made the decision, which is really choosing you, but that you saw that I could be that guide and support you through this process, which is ongoing, right? It's an ongoing process. What are some of the biggest things that you are proud of through accomplishing, through going through thinking into results? And again, we know you never actually are done, but you came in and made a commitment for a significant amount of time to really do the work. What's something you're really proud of?
Yeah, I mean, I guess firstly, it's just the fact that I was showing up and doing the work. It's having to do things daily and then show up for calls and do all the other work around it. It's a commitment, and I hadn't really done that before because I hadn't been part of a program like this. And so the fact that I actually did that and persisted with it, I was pretty proud of. But in terms of the things that came from it, I think I experienced so many shifts over that period of time, just really overcoming a lot of terror barriers, like the things that I kind of wanted to do but felt scared to do in order to move me forward. And I think the teachings and being part of the group and with your mentorship and encouragement, it helped me to actually take those leaps, which I know I wouldn't have done on my own. I think it's incredibly difficult when you're on your own and you're not supported to push through some of those fears and try something new, risk it not working out, all of that stuff comes up. And so I think for me, it was really, just being able to overcome those things and just see, as the months went by, the growth that I was experiencing, and looking back, you know, on the previous month and thinking, wow, like I've actually taken a lot of steps forward, and just seeing that progress, that kind of continuous progress, was really powerful for me. And I think for the way that I work is, if I'm making progress, and particularly if I'm getting positive feedback from that, it really motivates me to keep going forward. It's like it creates a momentum. And I think that's very important, because it's very easy, especially when you're on your own without support, it's very easy to stop and then kind of go back into the old programs and the old ways of being. But making that progress and having that continuous encouragement and support just kind of helped me to just keep going and moving through those things. And, you know, within my personal life, and also within my work, I've created so many new things. I've made so many shifts, you know, particularly in terms of my confidence, and just my way of being, and my vibration has shifted so much that many of the people and the things in my life that were there before the program have just fallen away. And I've begun realigning with people who are more, you know, on my wavelength. And that's been really amazing to witness. It's just kind of happened naturally. And, you know, I'm just super grateful for, you know, the new connections that I've made, and the things that I've managed to do in my business, the things I've created. You know, just in the last year, I've created so much, like way more than I did in the previous, you know, the previous few years. So yeah, it's been pretty awesome.
That is awesome. And I just hear you speaking of like getting more aligned with and being integrity. I think like integrity is wholeness. It's like when we're whole, and when we're not in integrity, we're lacking wholeness. And I've just seen how you've just grown so much. I already saw just what an amazing human you were, but just to see the leaps in your growth, and like you said, your confidence, and just being who you are and speaking your truth, and especially like, you know, coming from where there is a lot of opinions and a lot of interesting ways that people are putting themselves out there during the last few years. Yeah, just seeing you just completely align with who you are, and really inspiring, having that ability to just inspire others to be who they are and to speak their truth, and with love and grace, of course. But it's been just, it has been just really awesome to observe you. Yeah.
And that's one of the, just what you touched on there, that's another really powerful thing, because it isn't just about our own lives and doing what we want to do. By us stepping more into our power and our authenticity, we are then automatically impacting the people around us in a different way. And so it's like a butterfly effect, you know, and that I have really noticed that, and, you know, in terms of feedback that I have from people as well. And so it's nice to know that, you know, it isn't just me that's benefited, it's all of the people that I come into contact with, it's all the people I work with, all the people that I serve in different ways. The effect is kind of magnified, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, and it's leadership, right? I always let people know, like, thinking into results, it is a leadership. I would say it's a leadership program, but really it's a leadership way of living. And, you know, the leader that we're looking for is us. And when we lead, we unconsciously give other people around us permission to lead as well. And that's what we want to do. We want to be the leaders in our life. I think, like, even the event, we saw that energy of, you know, a lot of blame, a lot of victim consciousness, you know, and it's easy to blame things outside us or let circumstances dictate how we feel and show up. But truly, I mean, the leader that we're looking for is ourselves, and we got to step forward and lead. Right. And I think that's why I knew you'd be such a great fit for this, because you were already on your way. It was just, again, you were just lacking some of the knowledge and the education and the practices, which I've seen you just beautifully bring into your life. And I see you continuing to do that. And yeah, it's just been absolutely amazing. How satisfied were you, with the mentorship and the coaching support that you received? And I always ask everybody this so that, someone who's maybe watching this, that's thinking of moving forward, so that they can kind of get an idea of what to expect.
Yeah, I mean, as I touched on earlier, I think, one of the most powerful things about this program is the support that you get from the other members who are going through that experience with you, but also from you. So, I found you to be, incredibly supportive, reaching out, doing more than I think you would necessarily need to. But that is really meaningful. And I always felt like you had my back, and I always felt like you genuinely cared, and you live the material, like you do lead by example. And so that is something that I think is important when someone's deciding to embark on this work. You have to look at the person who is leading that. But yeah, I found the whole experience in terms of the mentorship and the support to be amazing.
Yeah, awesome. And you've inspired me too around your communities and everything that you're doing, Laura, as well. And I think that there's no better time to serve than right now on this planet. And so I just want to say, like, you're doing just such amazing things out there in the world. And if anyone's inspired by Laura, I am going to leave her contact details and her ways that you can reach out to her, because she definitely is thinking into results. And this is, once you start marinating in this material and leading in this material, again, it's a part of who you are. Your awareness has grown, your consciousness has shifted so much that there's like no going back. And Bob would often say that most people aren't thinking, and we're just acting out of a subconscious program that has absolutely control over us. So that's the thing, is like this ability now where you've increased your awareness and you can think. And then this is the great thing, is like you can catch yourself. You can catch yourself when you're going into those old patterns or habits or behaviors or belief systems, right? I think you've probably noticed that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And we all do it. There's always times you can literally feel yourself slipping back, but it's as you said, it's the awareness, and then being aware how to then get yourself, back on track.
Exactly. Okay, another question. How do you feel about yourself now that you've finished? And you really are never finished. So I don't like using the words finished, but now that you have made that commitment, you really chose you and you did the work. And I know, there is some work when you're gonna, when you make those decisions, but how do you feel about yourself now that you've completed the 6-month commitment into thinking into results? I mean, I know you're moving into other work, but how do you feel about yourself?
I would say I feel just a lot more confident and a lot more like myself. I've shed a lot of layers and things that were weighing me down and holding me back. And I feel more powerful now, because I've seen what I can do. I've seen myself move forward and create new things and shift and grow. And so I know I can do that. And I think that gives me a kind of sense of empowerment, but also I just feel very, I don't know, more authentic, more whole. I'm at I'm in a higher vibration. I just don't have the inclination for all of the time and energy wasting stuff that I used to. And I just feel, a lot just lighter and more in my power and more me. And I feel like I'm achieving and continuing to achieve, the things that I'm capable of, but I know there's so much more. And so that's what's kind of exciting, is that I know I can just keep going and just keep building on it and growing. And it, as you said, the work never ends. It's just a journey.
Yeah, I love your share. That's so good. And again, it's just that the opportunity to increase our awareness. I mean, we're working with paradigms, which, if you're watching this, it's a genetic environmental program, and there's only two ways we shift that. It's the repetition, it's having the guide, and unfortunately, some people won't shift those paradigms and do those things they know they need to do unless they, sometimes it's emotional impact, which is usually negative. It's, 9/11 is emotional impact. Having a horrible diagnosis from a doctor, that maybe you got a month to live, that's emotional impact. That's not the space we want to make those changes. So, the repetition is the number one law of learning. And it's a one thing that the paradigm definitely doesn't like when you come into this material. But I saw how you just came in and you just made a decision that you were going to be you're going to be coachable, because we have to be really great followers before we can be really great leaders. And I see how you've really developed yourself. What would you recommend to somebody who's watching this, who it might even be like, what do you want to say to that older version of you, before you moved into this material, maybe just some wise words of wisdom that you would want to share?
Yeah, I think with anything, like we kind of know deep down whether something is right for us, whether something is the right move. I think at a kind of like a deep kind of soul level, we know. But we often have all these things that kind of is more in our head that kind of says to us, oh yeah, but, and makes us kind of doubt it or be cautious and not want to actually take the leap. So I would just say, for anyone who's experiencing that kind of sense deep down that this is right for them, which is what I was feeling, to always go with your heart and what it is you deep down really want, and not let the head talk you out of it, and just go for it. So I think that's the most important thing. I try and live by my heart, I try and honor it, and I think that's the most important thing for people to do, and not believe the doubts and lies that your mind tells you.
Exactly. And that's a good point, because again, it's just that programming. Like when you're making a decision that you're going to level up in your life, you're going to lead, you're going to strengthen your self-confidence, you're going to strengthen your higher mental faculties, which is what you do in this work, which you're talking about too. That connection to heart is also your intuition. It's like you get that intuitive nudge, which you've mentioned a few times. You just know that you got to take and do that. But we often, because of the program, it's so nasty that we get stuck in our head, and then we don't make those decisions right. And then we continue to be playthings for what's going on outside. We continue to let the circumstances dictate our lives. And so I love that share, because I think that this is what really does separate leaders from, the opposite of a leader is a dictator. Unfortunately, that's just the way it is. Or people that are not getting the results that they want, is truly being heart-centered and really going inside and listening. I think that we all get those little divine nudges. I believe our creator, whatever you call that energy, is working through us and supporting us. I mean, even in Course in Miracles, I always reflect on the one verse that says, I've only sent you angels. And you know, and you feel lighter and you feel better when you're around a certain person, a teacher, a mentor. And it's just acting on that and saying, yeah, it's going to be scary. It's going to be uncomfortable. It might be really exciting, but I know that I got to do this. I always say that the opposite of leadership and creating success is it's comfort and complacency. And right, we just see how the last 3 years has just shown us. It's just showing us how addicted, how programmed we are to stay in comfort and complacency, all the ways we distract, all the ways that we're full of shit. We're not really living our lives as conduits, as spiritual beings with purpose. And that's when we're connected to our heart, right? Can you share a little bit with anyone who's watching this, the community, around what you do and maybe how they can reach out to you?
Yeah, so broadly speaking, I help people who are on the awakening path to really step into their power and create the life that they want. And I do that through various different ways. So I do coaching, I have a membership community, I have a Patreon channel, I run a podcast, there's various different things. But all of it is on my website, and there's more details about me and my background and all the things that I do. And that's just laurajanebolton.com.
Yeah. And I love that you've started your podcast, because I think this is where we're seeing, just better platforms, better podcasts, more opportunities to really align with the laws that govern us, and to really connect with people that are doing really great work out there. We're aware it's a law of polarity. There's a lot of BS out there. There's a lot of people that are not leading and maybe look like they're leading. And I think that's important to, again, really listen to your heart. By the way, if it moves you to victim consciousness, lack, limitation, kind of grump sessions, drama, all that, you're going in the wrong direction. We'll just put that out there right now. You want to be connecting to leaders that inspire you to be and do more, and really that are speaking from their heart and speaking truth, and again from this place of integrity, which is wholeness. So I am so grateful, Laura, that you are putting yourself out there, and everything that you're doing, because anybody that comes across you, I know they're so lucky, just as I feel, even being a mentor, a guide for you in this material. I just absolutely love working with you. I'm so fortunate and blessed because I get to work with the most incredible humans. No coincidence, because of course it's vibrational set point, and I've attracted you. And so I want to encourage you to also reach out to Laura, because she's doing some really great stuff, especially if you are, feeling like you want to get more support around just this awakening kind of process that we're going through on the planet. And Laura has a lot of really great resources and support and coaching, and again, her podcast. So, and I look forward to being on your podcast soon, hopefully.
Yeah, absolutely. We need to get that booked in.
Yeah, I know you've got lots of people reaching out to you. And so this is great. Well, thanks so much, Laura, for just being here, for sharing a testimony. Again, it's kind of nice to have a real person than just a a write-up. I mean, I get those all the time, but I love to have those conversations. And just thanks again for taking the time out of your day to just share a little bit about your experience, and for just sharing a little bit about you. So thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Okay. Have a great day, everybody. And thanks again, Laura.